Welcome back to another episode of the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse. I'm Logan Freeman, your host. I'm joined here today with Nick Morales, helping to co-host today's Property Spotlight. Nick, what's happening in your world today?
Oh, keeping busy with all the activity surrounding these properties. So,
yeah, I would say that there's an interesting. I had a guest on the show yesterday, Bruce Frazier. He talked a lot about the tailwinds of workforce housing, right? And multifamily. And they've been investing in that for 20, 25 plus years now. And they've got a lot of opportunities to invest in other asset classes. And, he just said we've stayed true to our investment thesis, which is, we don't want to be the prettiest property in town, but we also want to make sure that we have a safe, affordable place for people to live. And with the demographics changing, the first-time home buyer is now, I think it's over 40 years old for buying a first-time home. And you think about kids and people that are in kind of this new dynamic of renting. They're so used to having subscriptions on everything, right? Music subscriptions, car wash subscriptions. If you told me 20 years ago that I'd have a car wash subscription, I'd smack you upside your head, right? I'd be like, come on, no way. But I do. I sure do. And, I think I heard the other day, as I've been thinking about potentially getting a new vehicle, a Tesla at some point, said, well, you're going to have a subscription to your seat heaters and all of this stuff. I'm like, wait, what?
Nickel and dime.
And I'm not sure I like that, but like there's this psychology that new consumers, or the consumers that are now making up the new generations, are used to subscribing and renting. And I think that that's a huge tailwind for just multifamily in general. It's obviously been an asset class that you've been involved with for quite some time. And it's good to see that there's been a resurgence of, I think, capital going after value add opportunities. For so many years, it was very difficult to make a value add deal make sense. I mean, cap rate spreads between Class B and Class C were very, very tight. Yeah. And while you might have potential more upside on a Class C deal, you're still paying the same basis or very close to it. And I don't think that really made sense for a lot of people. So value add kind of fell out of favor for quite some time. But I've had a number of conversations with groups here recently that have said, no, I mean, we're back in the value add game and we want to acquire assets so we can force the appreciation. What have you been hearing out in the marketplace?
Yeah, just basically that. And you can open Pandora's box about talking about the, younger generation and the apartment living versus settling down and affordable housing and whatnot. But that's absolutely what people are looking for right now, is the value add again. So, trying to find the C and Bs that they can increase rents and with the demand that's out there, because there's obviously a vast shortage on the affordable housing that's being built, let alone what's out there in the different submarkets of Kansas City. So yeah, absolutely.
I will also say, I'm not going to get political by any means, but I think that there is been a decent amount of capital moving out of some more polarizing states in regards to taxing jurisdictions going into. I mean, Bruce also told me last night or yesterday that one of the one billionaires that was living in New Jersey left because of the taxes that they had just imposed. And he was 8% of the tax base of New Jersey. Jeez. In that city. 8%. That's wild to think about. And so, I think that there's been a big resurgence to capital moving, inland to the Midwest and looking for markets around Kansas City. Not only that, being willing to even go into some of these tertiary markets that are not necessarily growing by 1%, 2%, or 3% per year, but they have a steady employment base. Their population growth is positive, but it's not off the charts. But what does that mean? It also means that new development doesn't happen in those areas.
Yeah.
And so you see a big, sticky tenant base, resident base for these multifamily properties, which then I think gives the opportunity for real operators to sort of get in there, roll up their sleeves, and figure out from an operational standpoint, how can they improve, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of tailwinds for this asset class. Now, we're gonna do today is we're gonna spotlight two of our new listings out in Hutchinson, Kansas, just to give everybody a quick feel for Hutchinson, Kansas, what's going on in Hutch, as well as an overview of the property. We're gonna start with our beautiful drone video here. Nick, give me a thumbs up when I start here to make sure that you can hear this music. Also, I always forget to mention this. If you have questions, we are monitoring the LinkedIn live chat. So please do drop your questions that you have for Nick or I on these properties here. So let's get started. Nick, make sure you give me a thumbs up. All right, awesome. Katie, big shout out to Katie and the team for doing that incredible video. One thing I will just mention is we do have 96 units, not 93. So it is 96 units, 33 and 63. So it's 96 total units. Just one quick clarification there for everybody. But Nick, while I switch over to this new screen here, I do just kind of want to walk through as you're talking about this project, this area, the property. I'm going to be just kind of cycling through some photos for everybody to kind of get a feel for it. But give us an overview, man. What's going on in Hutchinson, Kansas, and what properties do we have here for sale for somebody for an investment?
So we've got Plaza Tower and Leon Place. As a high-level overview, there is a resurgence of economic development in downtown Hutch. There's about an $18 million project that's going in a few blocks down the street. You've also got the hotel, which is being renovated and repurposed as well. Just a lot of growing demand for the downtown Hutch location. So spread between two buildings, like you said, you got 63 and 33. The nice thing about being able to look at both of these projects is the fact that you can diversify because they've got as far as income streams because of the commercial spaces on the bottom floor. So it's a good opportunity for someone that that can put forth the right plan to get all of that leased up and create some additional revenue versus where it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic overview there. Just showing some photos. The Plaza Tower is the tallest building in Hutchinson, Kansas. So you do have the opportunity to purchase. I think it's the tallest building for my research in a 300 square mile location from a radius standpoint, which is pretty cool. But man, what a cool shot that the drone really showcased on Hutchinson, Kansas. Now, Nick, what's going on in the Hutch, Kansas? I mean, we mentioned the basketball tournament. Talk a little bit about that, the Fox Theater, the State Fair. It really is kind of a tourist attraction for a lot of people across the state of Kansas.
Yes, definitely. You've got the biggest draw is by far and away the Kansas State Fair. Then you've got the NJCAA. They have a host of championship games that they have there for multiple sports. Then you've got the Fox Theater that is a big draw regionally for incoming concerts and different venue. It's a choice of venue for regional events. But what you've got it on there, I think, is well, as far as the ballroom up there in the Plaza Tower is a hidden gem there that is not, it's underutilized right now. So, but in Hutch overall, yeah, there's a ton of tourism that comes in, without touching on the economic factors of the companies that are there without getting too in the weeds of that. But there's definitely a lot of tourism that comes around. So.
Hold on. Did you say that there is a 5,000 square foot ballroom in the Plaza Tower? Can we just double click on this point for a second here first?
5,200, I think, and 50 square feet of a ballroom there that is very underutilized. And it is, like I said, I think a good opportunity for someone with the right plan to get that out and make it more known and have it as an event space. Absolutely.
Absolutely. From some of the contacts that we've got in Hutch, we've been told that there's really one kind of event center for weddings that is pretty booked out on a regular basis. The other event center that they did have is either being renovated or torn down, redeveloped right now. We believe this to be a huge value driver on this property here. If you can figure out how to drive 20, 25, 30 weddings per year at $2,000, $3,000 a weekend, not only are you going to drive a lot of people coming to see the property, they might lease out units, might lease out commercial spaces, but you got the opportunity to add a lot of revenue on this property, right? So as we're kind of scrolling through, you can see these are mixed use assets. So we're looking at Plaza Tower right now as 63 multifamily units, but it also has, I believe, 11 commercial spaces. Yep. And we have a few of those spaces on the retail floor level of that. You can see some interiors of some units here. Well, maybe is that a unit, Nick?
Yeah.
My gosh, that is a unit there. And that might be a planetarium as well. So that's quite the unit.
For sure.
The Baker Ballroom is absolutely in this building and not being utilized. So you will not see any income coming in off of this beautiful ballroom right here going on in the property, giving you a feel of just kind of some of the interior finishes of these units you can kind of see. But man, look at the character on these properties, right? I mean, you've got incredible walkways and common areas that just, and mind you, both of these properties were originally hotels. And if you want to learn more about the history of these two properties, just go over to Crexy or reach out to Nick or myself on our offering memorandums. We have all the history of these properties. If you're in for historic buildings and very cool stories, you're in for a treat here on this multifamily property. But again, look at that ballroom, just an incredible property to take a look at. Just showing you some more of the common area spaces right now, some of those commercial spaces. I think, go ahead.
I was just going to say that one, while it's up, that's a nice amenity for the tenants, is it's a common area there with the TV, and you can certainly rent that out for different occasions if you're a tenant. So that's really
absolutely yeah
space.
Most definitely. Big buildings, guys. I mean, you got a lot of square footage here. We've got these listed at $4 million for the two properties. What you're going to get for that is around 96 multifamily units. Nick, what's the square footage on all of the commercial spaces? I think it's close to...
You've got 18,000 in the Plaza and 2,200 in the Leon. So
okay. 18,000 and 2,200 square feet of commercial spaces. Again, getting a feel for some of the interior finishes here, the common areas and elevators for the property. You can really get a feel for what type of units you're receiving here in this property. Now, I'm going to switch over just to kind of go over, let's focus in on just the Plaza Tower, just in general here, just so you guys can get a feel for, what the value add opportunities on each one of these properties here. So starting with the Plaza Tower, this is the property that has 63 units on the multifamily side, and it has 11 commercial spaces. We've been getting a lot of questions about the cell phone towers up there. It's our understanding that, or Nick, do you have some updated information on that? Go ahead.
Confirm that's an easement with a pass-through, so there's no benefit to that.
So if you are a cell phone tower investor, these have already been sold. So no income is being, other than I think some utility income, maybe potentially getting passed through, but those leases have been sold to, a cell phone tower company previously. Okay. So giving you an idea here, we've got 53 1x1s and 10 2x2s, 73 bedrooms, 12 stories one building here. The Plaza and the Leon properties are directly across the street from each other. All right. So our prices, again, this is a portfolio. So the portfolio price is $4 million. So direct your purchase price for each one how you would like, right? And whatever that makes sense for you. But we're talking about price per unit, not including the commercial space on the Plaza Tower, under $40,000. Okay. There's very few places in the United States that are as much or as well established as Hutchinson, Kansas, that you can get multifamily properties with the commercial opportunity for $40,000 a unit. Again, lots of history here that you can kind of walk through and read about the property. Happy to send over the offering memorandum for anybody who would be like to take a look at that. Okay, so just some more photos here for you as well to review. Now on the Plaza Tower specifically, what I do want to mention is that in our underwriting, we have held the commercial spaces at about 50% occupancy. Okay. We have been told that there might be an opportunity with the mall that is in Hutchinson, Kansas, to attract some tenants for a temporary period or for, a more permanent period of time for those tenants that are in that mall that might need some retail facing spaces. Now, you only have 3 or 4 retail spaces, I think, on the Plaza. Most of that is on that second floor. It's going to be some office components as well, right? So I think there's a robust strategy to add a lot of net operating income and to be able to help pay for some of these utilities. As you look at the T12s and the financials of this property, one thing that we want to highlight really is the focus on the utilities and the ability to really go in and do an investment grade energy audit on these properties. What that means is you engage with a company called ESP, and ESP's gone in and they've done a preliminary energy audit. And they say, if you upgrade these mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems, right, we believe that utility savings are going to be this. Okay. So that is an opportunity for a new investor because you have also the benefit of rebates and depreciation on those systems that you're putting in. I'm very well versed in this as I'm doing this on a medical office building here in Kansas City right now. So think about that. That has been included in our CapEx budgets for our underwriting. So you will see that there. Additionally, Kansas does allow for a ratio utility billing system. And so while the increase in rents may not be that large in Hutchinson, Kansas, and for these properties, you'll see that on our rent roll. We are not very aggressive on those rents. I do believe you have the opportunity to really punch a hole in some of these electric bills and some of the other utility bills by three ways: ratio utility billing system, preliminary energy audit, and reducing those expenses, as well as leasing out the commercial space and having them pay for some of those expenses. Okay, so we're talking about close to $175,000 per year in utility bills for this one property. So it is a substantial amount. And we believe that that can be reduced by 10, 15, maybe even 20% through the preliminary energy audit alone. So big opportunities here for an operational expense. Now, we're about 93% occupied on the Plaza Tower on the residential side. So, it's stayed pretty well occupied. When these owners bought it in 2020, I think it was around 67% occupied. Nick, keep me honest here, but I do believe they put into this property close to $1 million in the renovations. So we have all of the CapEx line items for you to review, everything that you want to take a look at in regards to the benefit of that. But honestly, the units, all of the units in these properties have been renovated to some level and to some standard. So we believe that this opportunity here really allows you to come in and bring some operational expenses down and lease out some of this commercial space, including a 5,200 square foot, ballroom that could add direct NOI to that property on day one. So very interesting opportunities there. Just rocking through the kind of the rent rolls. You can see on the 1 bedroom, 1 bath, we're going to have rents all the way from 680 or 575 all the way up to 685. So yes, there is opportunity to increase rents mark to market in the rents that are already being achieved on some of these other properties. 2 bedroom, 2 bath units going from all the way from 675 all the way up to 750 and 790 as well. So we have all of that information in our offering memorandums for you to review on the Plaza Tower. It is a big property. There's a lot of opportunity with this property. The last thing I want to mention on the Plaza Tower before I'm going to hand it back over to Nick is we believe the net operating income to be somewhere around $220,000 on the Plaza Tower. Okay, so we're talking about a cap rate going in basis wise at least a 7.5%, if not higher than that on this property, with immediate value add opportunities through increasing revenue from a commercial real estate standpoint, as well as reducing operation expenses through the three modes that we just mentioned. Nick, what did I miss on the Plaza Tower?
I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, NOI, the main is the recapture on the commercial space, the ballroom, and obviously the rubs for the utilities is a huge avenue. All of those could, present significant upside for the right model.
Absolutely. Yes. And what I will say here is if you look at the income and expense charts, you're going to see the light blue color, the turquoise color. That is electricity.
Yeah.
The largest expense at this property is electricity. And that is a massive amount for this property, over $100,000. Just want to say that again here. So we are basically the gross rental revenue that we have currently is around $605,000. Through the pro forma year 5, we're saying the gross rental revenue can be $688,000. Okay, and that is substantial, but it's also not that much when you think about the opportunity that is in place here for this property in regards to the rental rates from a commercial real estate standpoint that is currently vacant. All right. So we do have one thing I will mention, two things. Property is right next door to the Chamber of Commerce in Hutchinson, Kansas. Okay. So big opportunity to build a relationship with those guys and gals over there. We've had the opportunity to meet some of them. Yep. Fantastic people. And we have, some really good debt quotes in from some local lenders that know these assets extremely well. Yep. As well. So very, very good opportunity for somebody to come in and purchase these properties, and excited about the opportunity for somebody to get in close to a 7.5–8% cap rate on existing income for these real estate deals. Now, moving over to the Leon Place, I will just kind of walk through this property as well, just like we did previously with the Plaza and Leon. Now, we've got mostly 1x1s in this property. We have some 2x1s, some 2x2s as well. And I think we actually have a 3-bedroom in the Leon Place as well. So, you're looking at, again, price per door, under $40,000 per door on this property here across the street in Leon Place. A little bit of a smaller property. It's around 33 units, has 2 commercial units, but it does sit directly across the street from the Plaza Tower. So very good opportunity to have some scale, right? We've heard about a lot of operators talking about the operations and who's managing it. The owners are currently managing it themselves. There are third-party management companies in Hutchinson, Kansas. And right before we jumped on this call, we actually received an email from another management company seeing the new listing and saying we'd love the opportunity to win that business from a management standpoint. Leon Place does have a nice doggy washing station for you and for your pets. So pet-friendly properties here. You can see the level of finishes. They've done a great job with the design on the property as well. But here's another photo of just kind of the welcoming of the common areas when you walk into the property. Laundry. Nick, talk to us about laundry on both of these properties.
Laundry, they do have, there is a lease on the actual equipment, but the percentage, I think it was close to 2% of the NOI comes from that. So good return there. Yeah.
So property is on site on this deal. I'm just going to move over to the, there's a cave. I don't know why we've got a cave here, but apparently there's a cave in Hutchinson, Kansas. Go check it out.
Draw for the area. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So going through our rent roll here, we are saying, and when we get to the financials. Okay. So look very closely on this, please. Our current multifamily rental revenue is $248,000. Our pro forma is $250,000. Meaning we have not been overly aggressive on any of these rental increases. Okay. We're keeping the vacancy, I think, on the commercial side at 50%, right? So you have the opportunity to lease those 2 retail, street facing retail units out. There is an office, I believe, in
Yep.
the Plaza Tower for sure. I don't know if there's one over in the Leon or
There
not.
is. Yep.
There's
There is.
offices on site for
Yep.
on-site management, or you could lease that out as well. But I just want to just be very clear that we have underwrote these properties for somebody who can come in and look at realistic returns, okay, in regards to the pro forma. So, and we truly do believe that it's a unique opportunity. There's going to be, both of these properties right now are operating above a 60% operational expense ratio, and we kept I believe we kept that very close to where that was. Other than both of our underwritings for the Plaza and for the Leon, both implement the preliminary energy audit findings that we did have. Okay, so the CapEx strategy that is there is straight off those PEA reports. Those reports are in our data room, so you have access to those. We can get you in contact with ESP to kind of review that. Again, big thing here on both of these properties, if you look at the expenses, is that turquoise electricity, right? There's a big opportunity to come in. So if you have a construction background, you have a utility background, you understand how to put in, mechanical systems, electrical systems, do ratio utility billing systems and lease up commercial space, you've got a big opportunity on these assets here. All right. So really going through, our current rental revenues, 266 pro forma year one, 271 up to 293 in year 5. So I think very conservative in regards to our projections here. Opportunity here to get in at least a 7.5, if not an 8% cap rate on the Leon as well. What's our occupancy over on the Leon property here, Nick?
I didn't hear you. You kind of broke up.
What's our occupancy over on the Leon last time that we checked?
Leon's 100% occupied.
All right, Leon, 100% occupied. So got the opportunity to get into a cash flowing deal here, guys. Just trying to think through. We like to keep these sessions around 27, 30 minutes. Nick, what did I miss on these properties here that we should be mentioning?
I think we pretty much covered everything. Obviously, the tremendous upside and everything is getting the commercial space leased out. And with the mall closing down, there's a great opportunity to capture some tenant base there, like you said, for short or long term, just with it being close in proximity. So, not to sound redundant, but the ballroom, I think, is another huge upside to where, there's no incremental overhead that will come into play. It's literally a plug and play as far as an event space. And as you mentioned, the chamber, I think it's a great opportunity to get in tight with the chamber and start hosting some events there. And, sky's the limit on that side. So.
Absolutely. 100% it is. And, when you review our underwriting, you will see that we have still held a 50% vacancy rate on the commercial spaces for these properties. So we're not very overly aggressive on that front as well. We're getting a lot of questions around rent comparables. To be honest with you, your data is going to be as good as ours in Hutchinson, Kansas. So what we have done is we have aggregated what we think is kind of the most, comparable properties, and we've included those in the offering memorandum. However, it's very easy to go to Zillow or apartments.com and just look at what properties are out there. There's not a lot of apartments that are for rent in Hutchinson, Kansas. A lot of houses, a lot of duplexes for rent, but from a maintenance free kind of perspective in regards to living downtown, there's not a lot of options. And so but we did include a few of those for you to review as well. So if you're an investor that's looking for yield with the opportunity to increase revenue substantially, 25, 30%, and decrease operational expenses by a huge margin. I'm thinking 10 to 12, maybe even 15% through preliminary energy audit and the investment grade energy audit, through ratio utility billing system and getting vacant space leased up. You're willing to kind of roll your sleeves up and get dirty and, spend some time in Hutchinson, Kansas. You're going to have some historic assets that really are going to increase in value over time. So please do reach out to Nick or myself. We can be reached at Logan and Nick at mwcreadvisors.com. Our website is mwcreadvisors.com. You will find the links to the listings on our website. You can find them on LinkedIn. You can find them on Crexy, but better yet, give us a call or send us an email and we will send you all of the information to get you over to the listing so you can find all this information. I really appreciate everybody tuning in today for another episode of the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse. We're excited for this asset. There's been a number of true buyers that have kind of come out and said, this is one of those deals that's going to take some time to wrap your head around, right? So we understand that. And so, please do use us as a resource. We have spent a lot of time digesting a lot of information, and I'm sure that we can answer some of those questions for you to make your underwriting a lot tighter. Matter of fact, we had a couple buyers actually send us full lists of questions. We'd be happy to share that FAQ document with you as well. Oh, last thing I'll mention, we went in and we did inspection reports. Yeah. So the inspection reports are in the data room. These owners, we are not hiding anything here, okay? It is full transparency. You're going to have access to the energy audit reports. You're going to have access to the inspection reports. You've got access to all the information that we do. We do want to make a deal. We want to see these assets really go to the right person that can take them to the next level and be an incredible historic property, 2 historic properties in downtown Hutchinson, Kansas. Nick, leave us with some final words, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, you literally captured everything, I think, in that short little bit, but tremendous upside for the right people. It's just a matter of executing a model and a plan of getting the commercial space leased up. And like I said, sky's the limit on where that can go. With as conservatively as we've underwritten it, there is tremendous upside for the right people.
Excellent. Nick, thank you for being here. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of our Property Spotlight series. We are Midwest Commercial Real Estate Advisors. This is the Kansas City Commercial Real Estate Market Pulse, and we will be back with you next week. Thanks for being here.
See you guys.